Hi, Relaxed Recaps here. Today I'm going to explain a French drama film called No Limit. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. On an ocean in western France, we see a young girl named Roxana standing alone on a beach, looking out into the broad ocean. Her grandfather joins her and gives her diving gear, after which she goes swimming in the beautiful clear waters. The scene then shifts to several years later when we see adult Roxana emerge from the ocean, indicating that she has been diving her whole life. Roxana is now at her university, and we learn that she is planning to become a marine biologist in the future. After class, she notices a poster of world-famous freediver Pascal Gaultier, who will be giving diving lessons to those who are interested. She then takes a picture of the poster and heads home. But later, her mother gets furious and scolds her for forgetting to attend her therapy sessions. It turns out that Roxana attempted to take her life after her father passed away, which is why she must frequently attend counseling. However, she argues with her mother and claims that she's no longer in need of counseling. The following day, Roxana pays the diving course fee and travels to the destination. She then lies to her mother, claiming that she's studying with a friend for a few days. And as she reaches the location, she sleeps on the bench to rest. A few moments later, a man named Tom appears, who also happens to be one of the diving instructors. Tom informs her that this is not the place to sleep, but Roxana explains that she spent all of her money on the course, so she's too broke to go to a motel. Later, the diving class begins with an instructor named Stephanie, who provides a brief review of the rules and techniques. While they're on it, the world champion Pascal Gaultier arrives and introduces himself to the students. He motivates them not to stress too much in the water and that everything will be fine. After that, they all leap into the sea, and Roxana is blown away by Pascal's abilities. And when she questions Tom about him, he explains that Pascal has an exceptional pain tolerance ability, which is why he can withstand the pressure and dive deep into the ocean. After the training session, Tom approaches Roxana and informs her that he'll arrange a hostel for her since she has nowhere to stay. He also invites her to a party that night with his other team members. That evening, Roxana arrives at the party, and Tom greets her cheerfully. Even with Pascal's girlfriend by his side, she and Pascal continue to stare at each other. Moments later, Roxana goes to the restroom, and Pascal shortly follows her. The two then passionately get intimate in the bathroom. But when they go back outside, Pascal's girlfriend realizes what's going on and leaves angrily after breaking up with him. The following day, Roxana and Pascal practice diving in the water. Pascal acknowledges how proficient she is and praises her abilities. He then surprises his team by bringing her along to his practice session. Stephanie, on the other hand, dislikes her presence and tells her she shouldn't be here. Roxana gets confused and asks him what the problem is because it's just a routine dive, but Stephanie reveals that Pascal is about to break the world record today. Later, as Pascal attempts to set a world record by diving 172 meters underwater, his team is dispersed over various levels to keep an eye on him. Even though Pascal manages to complete the dive safely, they realize that one of his team members is missing. It turns out that the member suffered a stroke and collapsed underwater. The team then pulls him onto the boat and makes a desperate effort to help him, but unfortunately, he ends up losing his life. Afterward, when the police show up for the investigation of the accident, Stephanie blames Pascal for sending the newbie 40 meters down. However, Pascal reminds him that everyone knew he was a rookie, but he still decided to go, so it's nobody's fault. The next day, the group gathers in memory of the dead team member and they pray for his peace. However, they still need someone for surface diving, so Roxana steps up and claims that she can do it. Pascal believes that Roxana can do it. However, Stephanie is opposed to it since he realizes how dangerous it could be for her. Furthermore, Tom also supports her and believes that she is significantly better than the other divers and also has first aid experience. And after a vote among all the team members, Roxana formally joins the team. The next day, Pascal informs Roxana that he believes she's wasting her life with him. He advises her to attend college for the time being and pursue her dreams later. Roxana, on the other hand, declares that she does not want to return home and that she wishes to dive with him for the rest of her life. After that, Roxana begins her training and learns all of the necessary safety protocols. In the following scene, the event day arrives and Pascal successfully dives 172 meters, and the team celebrates the new world record. Roxana is also on top of the world as she has never felt so alive, and later that night, the team gathers up for a celebration to mark their new accomplishment. Roxana then calls her mother to notify her that she would not be returning home and will leave her studies to accompany Pascal on his journey. Her mother opposes this decision, arguing that she cannot simply toss away her life for a man she's just met. Roxana, on the other hand, is adamant about her decision and ignores her mother's advice. A few days after setting a new world record, another freediver manages to go 174 meters down. Pascal has to compete now, and now he's aiming for 176 meters. But this time, while diving, he suffers from a blackout. The doctor advises him to stop diving since it could be risky for his health. However, Pascal is adamant that he cannot leave diving and refuses to listen to the doctor. Roxana also could not change his mind, knowing how passionate he is about his profession. As he takes a break, Pascal introduces Roxana to the world of freediving and starts training her. Soon, she takes part in a competition and sets a new record for French women by going 56 meters deep in the CWF category. She's celebrated by the media for her achievement, and her mother also shows up there. Roxana is surprised to see her mother and asks why she's there. But her mother turns to Pascal and says that whatever Roxana is doing is dangerous and she must stop it immediately. However, Roxana isn't having any of this and asks her mother to stay away from her life. Days later, a woman breaks another world record, and Pascal is unable to understand that a woman can outperform him. He arrives at the event and makes a scene, declaring that he wants to compete too. However, the higher officials of diving championships forbid his participation since it could endanger his life and body. Pascal then criticizes the authorities and the woman before storming out. Later that evening, an event is held to honor the women who have achieved success in the diving profession. Pascal is also present there to support Roxana. When the woman who broke the world record enters the stage, everyone starts applauding her. And when Pascal sees this, he gets extremely upset and walks away. Roxana finds Pascal after the event and expresses her displeasure that he wasn't there to celebrate her achievement. Pascal, on the other hand, tries to defend himself by claiming that he couldn't see the face of the woman who broke his record. When she refuses to listen to him, Pascal accuses her of enjoying all the praise and not caring about what he is going through. The next day, as the team prepares for another competition, Tom informs Roxana that Pascal has decided to take a little break and has left without saying goodbye. On the other hand, we see Stephanie teaching Roxana how to control her breath on the water. He informs her that she's gifted and that only a few people in the world can learn this quickly. However, Roxana is too stressed and worried about Pascal to focus on anything. Just then, Stephanie informs her that she doesn't need Pascal or anybody else because she's more than capable of accomplishing her goals on her own. Now, Roxana quickly rises to popularity, and one day during an interview, a reporter begins to flirt with her. Just then, Pascal appears in the scene, jealous of this entire situation, and he accuses her of cheating. Seeing his distraught state, Roxana tries to persuade him to take a small break and travel somewhere together, but Pascal is adamant and mocks her for giving up. Later, Pascal summons his team for a meeting and recommends allowing Roxana to dive with no limits and attempt to break the world record he had previously set. The rest of the team doesn't believe that she's ready for it yet, and Roxana loses her temper. She claims that all of the men are making decisions for her without even consulting her. She agrees with Pascal's idea, but states that she would try it for herself and not for him. The next evening, Roxana meets Tom at a bar. She says that she's always known Tom's affection for her and realizes that choosing Pascal over him was a mistake. She also admits that Pascal is cheating on her and kisses him. However, Tom believes Roxana is too drunk to continue, so he backs off and tells her they shouldn't go any further. Meanwhile, Pascal becomes more competitive and continues to push himself and Roxana to break the record. He refuses to take time off to care for his health, and the distance between the two increases. One day, in a practice session, Roxana eventually manages to go 170 meters deep. When Pascal tries to do the same, he passes out once again. And when he awakens, Roxana explains how important Pascal is in her life and how trophies and championships are meaningless without him. Pascal, on the other hand, does not share this sentiment and is unwilling to quit. For him, competition is more important than his relationship with Roxana. The next evening, Roxana becomes suspicious and follows Pascal, only to discover him cheating on her with another girl. She goes to Tom for comfort, and before they know it, the two end up kissing. The next morning, she packs her belongings and decides to leave Pascal, but he's determined not to let her go. He smashes the mirror with his fist, and Roxana couldn't help but sympathize with him. Later, during a training session, Pascal sees a text message sent by Tom to Roxana and finds out about their relationship. And soon, at a press conference, Roxana notices the woman Pascal cheated with in the audience. By looking at him, she realizes he will never change his behavior and suddenly leaves the conference. Now, Roxana is set to compete in the no-limit category and dive 180 meters to set a new world record. Pascal approaches Tom and tells him that despite a few setbacks, he still has faith in him. He then approaches Roxana to spend a few moments with her, but realizes she no longer cares for him. Meanwhile, Tom, in charge of Roxana's air tank and entire team, is accountable for Roxana's life before the competition begins. They must ensure that the medics are around in case she needs medical treatment, and after the team is all set to send her down, Tom notices Pascal near Roxana's oxygen tank. But despite his intuition, he trusts Pascal and doesn't pay much attention to it. Roxana successfully reaches the bottom and is ready to launch the inflatable balloon to reach the surface in under 2 minutes. But as she prepares to leave the surface, she notices that the tank doesn't have any air, so Tom helps her by inflating the tank with air. But this is insufficient to lift her to the surface. Roxana desperately makes an effort but is unable to keep up with the water pressure. She's only meant to stay underwater for 3 minutes, but she stays for nearly 8 long minutes. She realizes her attempt to get out is useless and her body can no longer hold on. Just then, Roxana hears the whale singing and loses her senses in the tranquil depths. By the time the security team dives in to save her, it's already too late, and when she reaches the surface, Roxana is pronounced dead. When the police question the crew, no one admits to knowing what went wrong. Though Tom is aware that Pascal played a role in Roxana's death, he remains silent and says it was an accident. But afterward, as Tom prepares to depart for the airport, he catches Pascal staring at him from a distance with a smirk. Meanwhile, in some other place, we see Roxana's grandfather sobbing while sitting on a boat. The movie then ends with him taking the urn and scattering his granddaughter's ashes into the water. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.